Hey, I wanted to make this video for you guys because I did some on-location painting for the first time today. So en plein air, I was so excited in France. But anyways, one of the biggest problems is getting your canvases home when they're wet. As I was working with oil, it's definitely not going to dry in that same day. So I looked online and found a lot of different options, most of which were very expensive. Especially since I'm working with panels, not canvases, so they're very thin. But I didn't want to buy a big bulky box. I'm already carrying all my painting stuff. So what I actually ended up doing was kind of a DIY with little bits of eraser and masking tape. So I'm going to take it apart for you and show you exactly what it looks like in reverse. And it worked really well. So as you can see, I've got my two panel boards here. I only used one of them, but if you wanted, you could do two at a time. Then I've wrapped one long strip of masking tape all the way around on the long edge. So that just holds everything together. Get rid of that, that's garbage now. So the trick to making this technique work is actually these little eraser bits wrapped in masking tape sticky side out, so that it kind of actually holds itself together regardless of having the tape around the edge. But obviously, since you're going to be transporting it, that tape around the edge is pretty important. In fact, I even dropped this. Someone bumped into me on the bus and it fell to the ground, and it was fine. No problems at all. So now that the tape on the outside edge is gone, obviously if both panels were painted, you want to be a little more careful about this. Only one panel is painted, so I don't have to worry about the top one touching anything. You can just lift it up and pull it back. So, and there you have it. The trick to this is you also have to masking tape your edges of your canvas. So if you're not someone who normally does that, that's kind of required for this method, because you're going to be using the side bits with a little eraser as a spacer. So I just took a little normal eraser and I used an X-Acto knife just to slice it right down the middle. And it was pretty easy. Obviously I did it on a picnic table in between two slots of wood so that the X-Acto knife wouldn't cut through any important furniture underneath. And yeah, it worked really nicely. And then obviously, since it's the same eraser, you have two pieces that are exactly the same height. Obviously, make sure you put them down the same way. I wrapped them with masking tape, sticky side out, so that they're sticky, and you could probably keep using that same masking tape quite a few times. I've used this twice now for testing and then for real today. Yeah, and so then you can just peel them off, and if you did it right, they'll only be touching the masking tape parts of the painting, so you won't have any damage. And yeah, you can see how you can get two paintings, and it was very sturdy. I originally tried putting it horizontally at the top and bottom, but then there was a little too much likelihood of the edges touching like that, whereas if you put it on the long edge bits, it's much harder for it to touch on the horizontal bits. Hopefully that made some sort of sense. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And there you go. You can see how to make your own little carrying case with nothing more than masking tape and an eraser. Very simple, very cheap. Hopefully you get some use out of it. Bye-bye. Now, one thing I am lucky on is that my box actually holds my palette in such a way that it doesn't touch the wet paint. But if you didn't have such a feature, you could definitely use the exact same technique with little erasers on your palette. You'd want to make sure to leave a little bit of space, and then another panel or any type of wood or just another palette to keep that safe and protected as well. If you're more of a written instructions kind of person, make sure you check out my blog where I'll have all the steps written out for you.